listeners, and welcome to yet another episode of the Nigerian Football Weekly podcast with me, your host, Olu Oke. Today is episode 60, and yes, the football season is back. I'm sure you're all excited, and so am I. You know, it's been a nice break, but we all know what our first love is, football. So I'm happy to be back. On today's episode of the podcast, I'll be running through the Nigerian transfers that have happened so far in the transfer window. We still have a month left to go, but we've got some pretty tasty transfers that have happened so far. I'll also be touching on the top players to watch out for this season. Some of them have some new interesting teams to play for or new situations. So I'll be talking about that or generally things to improve. And then we'll be touching on the fixtures to look out for over the next week as the season gets started. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So starting with the transfers for this season to be aware about. Arguably the highest profile transfer we've seen from a Nigerian player so far has been Bassey. So Bassey, who was previously at Rangers, has moved to Ajax. So he's going to play the Champions League, which is quite exciting. He's going to be one of our representatives in the Champions League for the new season. He signed for just above £20 million for Ajax. Big signing. I mean, a lot of faith shown in him by Ajax. And he's going to replace Sandro Martinez, who moved to Manchester United, as most people who listen to this podcast should be aware about. Taiwo Awoniyi also has finally made his move to the Premier League. He signed for Nottingham Forest, newly promoted team, for a club record fee of £11.5 million. So I'm really eager to see how he performs in the Premier League. Super Eagles central midfielder Joe Aribo is finally a Premier League player. He's moved from Rangers as well to Southampton. So really look forward to how he performs in the Premier League. I think that's going to be a big move. And honestly, I wish him all the success. Just to even that, I've got him in my fantasy Premier League team because I think he's going to do well. And we've seen some good signs from preseason. Henry Ekuru, I mean, at this point, we have to call him a bit of a serial mover. 25 years old, he's moved from Olympiacos to the Turkish league to Adana Demirspor. The Turkish league has suffered a bit of a drop, to be fair. They're now the 20th ranked league in Europe, which is quite poor, to be fair. But look, as long as he revives his career, he plays well, then we're not going to complain about the move he's made. Safe to say he needs it. He's been out of contention for the Super Eagles and not been getting called up recently for obvious reasons. So he needs to really hit the ground running. David Carrick, who played for what's their name? Venezia in Serie A last season. He's made a move back to Serie A. He's going to play for Cremonese, who have been newly promoted into Serie A, so that should be interesting to watch. Chidozie Awaziem, another Serie A mover. I saw a tweet the other day from Soles Chukwu. I thought it was a pretty interesting tweet about Chidozie Awaziem. He said there's no bigger difference between the perception of Nigerians and European pundits and footballers when they think about Chidozie Awaziem, and I think that's very true. So Chidozie Awaziem is on yet another loan. He's moved from Boavista to Hajduk Split in the Croatian league. With all due respect, Chidozie Awaziem should not be getting called up to the Super Eagles. Like, I know he brings the good vibes, but honestly, his career just seems to be going. But Hajduk Split is doing okay in the Croatian league, so hopefully he can revive his career. We've also seen Ishak Abdul Razak, the 20-year-old midfielder / wing-back, moved from the Swedish league from Norrköping to Anderlecht in the Belgian league. That's a pretty good move, and in promising size, he's already been starting games for them, although he got a red card over the weekend, which was not good to see. Stephen O'Day has moved from Genk to Randers in the Danish Super League. So he'll be expected to score the goals for them in that league. He was on loan there last season, so let's see how he gets on. Tarnebuehi is back in Serie A. He signed for Empoli on a free transfer. Jamilu Collins has moved into the Championship in the Premier League. He signed for Cardiff City, so that's a bit of an interesting move. Abraham Marcus, the left winger who was in the second division in Portugal last season, has signed for FC Porto's B team. I'm not really sure what's going on with that one, but hey, who am I to, say anything? Iyai Atiemwe, who was playing for Dynamo Zagreb last season, has moved to FC Sheriff. You remember FC Sheriff in the Champions League last season? They famously beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu last season in the Champions League. They did lose their game today in the Champions League qualifier, so it's unlikely they'll qualify for the Champions League, but hopefully he can revive his career. He's 26 years old. Valentino Zumwaffor has moved from Charleroi to FC Sochaux in the French second division. Interesting move. I don't even want to see Zumwaffor anywhere near the national team, especially if Boguma's still getting called up. But what do I know? One of the really good moves I've seen in the transfer window so far, Victor Boniface has moved from Bodo Glimt in the Norwegian first division to Union Saint-Gilloise in the Belgian league. Union Saint-Gilloise finished second in the Belgian first division last season after getting promoted. They're currently playing in the Champions League qualifiers. They beat Rangers 2-0 earlier today. So, I mean, just exceptionally well-run club. I'll advise anyone to go read up on them. They're owned by Brighton's owner, Tony Bloom, and they are very, very big on their data and how to make sure that they gain all the best value that they can from players using data. So if Victor Boniface is being signed by Union Saint-Gilloise, that means we got a good player on our hands. He's 21 years old, and let's see how things go. I saw Eagles Tracker tweet today that maybe in 2 or 3 years' time he'll be in the Premier League, so watch out for him. I think that's a pretty good move. And then in just a few other moves, we've seen Joel Obi move to Serie B. He's moved from Salernitana to Regina on a free transfer. And Anthony Uja has also moved from Union Berlin to the second division in the German league to Braunschweig. So those are the big moves we've seen so far involving Nigerian players so far. We've still got one more month of the transfer window. It ends on the 31st of August, and will still affect a few moves to come to fruition. I'm pretty sure Ademola Lookman's going to move to Atalanta in Syria, so that's going to be a good move to see. Fabrizio Romano has already tweeted about it, so watch out for that move to be confirmed by Atalanta. And I would love to see Emanuel Dennis leave Watford. Emanuel Dennis is too good to play in the Championship in England, so fingers crossed that he gets the right move that he deserves based on what he showed in the Premier League last season. Moving on to the players to watch for this season, and it's always exciting when there's a new, fresh slate of football to watch. I have to start with Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen's back in the Champions League. He hasn't played in the Champions League for the past 2 seasons. He made his Champions League debut playing for Lille, and he scored at Stamford Bridge. I'm sure people remember that. He's going to spearhead Napoli's attack as usual this season, and he's also going to take penalties. I'm a bit worried though. Napoli have lost Lorenzo Insigne and Dries Mertens. Their team looks a bit live. They've also lost Koulibaly. Yes, they've signed the South Korean international to replace Koulibaly, but I'm eager to see what Napoli do to make sure their team is good enough to compete for the top 4. But I think whatever happens, if Osimhen can put together a really good season and hit at least 20 goals all competitions, although I like to see him score 20 in Serie A, it's safe to say he should be moving next summer. So watch out for that space. Obviously, Calvin Bassey, most expensive transfer ever out of the Scottish Premiership, and he'll make his UCL bar for Ajax. Really good move for him after impressing for Rangers in both the Europa League and also the Scottish Premiership. Big season ahead. Unfortunately, he got red carded on his debut over the weekend in the Dutch Super Cup as Ajax lost 5-3 to PSV Eindhoven. So hopefully it's safe to say there'll be better days ahead. To be fair, it was a bit unlucky. It was a VAR decision. So I'm sure Calvin Bassey will feature a lot in the podcast over the coming season. Jaribo, finally a Premier League player, scored a brilliant goal in pre-season the other day against Villarreal. Dribbled 5 players and slotted the ball in with his left foot. I've heard Ralph Hasenhüttl hint that he may play at centre forward in certain games. So it's safe to say we're going to see Jaribo play at centre forward or in number 10 position, but definitely higher up the pitch and nothing like double pivot, which he plays for Nigeria, which I'm quite excited to see. Taiwo Awoniyi, record signing for newly promoted Nottingham Forest. He's going to link up with Jesse Lingard, so I'm hoping that Lingard and that partnership could prove to be quite fruitful. It's great to see for him because after all his work permit issues over the previous years, with him being a regular starter in recent moments for the Super Eagles in certain games, he was able to get his work permit a lot more easily while also playing in Union Berlin in the Bundesliga. So look out for Taiwo Awoniyi in the Premier League. Emanuel Dennis, who I've already mentioned, he did start for Watford last night on Monday in a 1-0 win over Sheffield United, which was good to see. We can't really fault his commitment. But with all due respect, I want to see what happens in August and see what Premier League team snaps him up. Omar Sadiq is finally in La Liga. Shout out to him. He had yet another big season for Almeria in the Segunda last year. and I'm keen to see how he performs in the first division in Spain. Let's see if he can really mix it up with the big boys, and hopefully he can get close to 15 league goals just to, solidify his reputation. Because to be fair, after the Under-17 World Cup, he got snapped up by Roma, which shows the talent that the man has. So fingers crossed that he can replicate that form over the coming season. Another person to watch out for is Taran Ebuehi. He's back in Syria. He's got another chance. He signed for Empoli. Not one of the better teams in the league, to be fair, but can he finally make good on his promise? If you get signed by Benfica, it's usually a good sign that you're a talented player. But let's see if he can impress regularly and finally challenge Ola Aina for the right-back spot in the Super Eagles. Although, talking about right-back spots, we've seen Barasai Samuel start at right-back for Fenerbahce over the past season, so maybe he might get a shout. And we've also seen the new Anderlecht player, Ishak Abdul Razak, play a right wing back for Anderlecht. So it looks like our right back or / right wing back options are all of a sudden a bit more prominent. So let's see how it goes over the season. Chida Ajike is another player to watch. He took advantage of a FIFA rule which allows players playing in the Russian league to move, to break their contract and move this season. So he's on loan at Hertha Berlin in the Bundesliga for this coming season. Really keen to see how he plays. We know he lost his place in the national team after AFCON. So I think he's got a really pivotal season ahead. Ademola Lookman, close signing for Atalanta. That's another big one to watch. Over the past few seasons, we've seen him go out on a few loans. So I'm keen to see how he settles in at Atalanta. We know Gasperini plays brilliant football. So if he could lock down a starting place, I think this could be a really amazing move for Ademola Lookman. So watch this space. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that there's a full agreement reached for 50 million euros. So I'll expect that to be announced and confirmed over the coming days. So watch this space. Xavier Godwin, he was one of the best players in the Portuguese second division last season for Casa Pia. He's now going to get a chance to play in the Portuguese league. So let's see how he can perform in the main, top league in Portugal. Can he kick on? Can he maybe put himself in contention for a Super Eagles call-up? Only time will tell. Cyriel Dessers, we know he had a great season for Feyenoord last season, especially in the UEFA Conference League where he was the top scorer. Feyenoord have been priced out of a move to get him permanently, so he's not going back to Feyenoord. We do know he's back at Genk. Over the weekend, he scored a brace, so he's clearly not slowing down for the season. I'm intrigued to see where it ends up for the season, though. I have a feeling that in August he will make a move from Genk. So let's see if he ends up one of the top 5 leagues and if he can continue to deliver the output, because he's been called up for the most recent squads for the Super Eagles under Jose Peseiro. And then finally, Victor Boniface, probably a new name to a lot of people who listen to this podcast. He's just signed for Belgian side Union Saint-Gilloise, who, as I mentioned earlier today, beat Rangers 2-0 in the UEFA Champions League third round qualifier. Maybe he'll make his debut over the weekend. He's been doing his thing in the in the Swedish division. The Norwegian league. So let's see if he's able to push on and kick on while playing for Union Saint-Gilloise. And fingers crossed, maybe he might even make an appearance in the Champions League. So watch this space. And then also, I just wanted to touch on the Premier League. Premier League is back, baby. We know it's the most popular league in the world, the most popular league in Nigeria, the most popular league in England, the most popular football league everywhere. So boy, am I excited. As you know, I'm a Gunner, so I have very high expectations, even though I'm a bit biased. But, you have to forgive me on that one. So just predictions for the season as we did last season. So who do I expect to be champions? I do think Liverpool could actually pit Man City this season, primarily because Man City have lost a lot of pace on the wings. I mean, when you lose Jesus and Sterling and you're relying on Grealish and Mahrez, I'm not sure. I really think they've lost something in there, even though they've gained a lot in the form of Erling Haaland. But I think Liverpool have the qualities to probably pip them, even though Liverpool's midfield looks a bit light. Who do I think will end up in the top 4? Liverpool first, Manchester City second, Arsenal third, and I can't even lie, Tottenham are looking good, so I expect them to finish 4th and be in the top 4. They've made a lot of very shrewd moves. Basuma, Perisic, Richarlison. I mean, you can't even be mad, so fair play to them. Who do I think will finish 5th and 6th? I think Chelsea will finish 5th. We know Thomas Tuchel is not a very happy man right now in terms of the quality of his squad, and he wants a few more signings. I'm not really sure about this Cucurella signing a left back, because we know Cucurella is going to play with Chilwell, even though people keep telling us Cucurella could play left centre back. Cucurella as a wing back or a left back. So I'm not buying that. And then Manchester United, you know, a lot of turmoil over there. Maybe Eric Ten Hag could help them, but we still know there's a big problem in the shape of Cristiano Ronaldo. So let's see what happens to that one. Who do I think will get relegated? Sorry to say this, Alex Iwobi, but I think Everton might finally go down. I've been very, very underwhelmed by their signings. I mean, Dwight McNeil, who got 2 assists in the last 2 Premier League seasons, he's not going to move the needle for Everton in any way, shape or form. They've lost Richarlison, who was their best player of the last season. We still don't know how well Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to perform. We'll see if James Karkowski could, you know, fill in midfield. But ultimately, Everton give me a bit of a worrying vibe. And I also think 2 of the newly promoted teams will go down, Fulham and Bournemouth. So that's just my prediction. Who's going to be the top scorer? I think Mo Salah and Harry Kane will share the Golden Boot or get close to sharing the Golden Boot. It's going to be a big, big season for both of them. Especially Mo Salah. I think he's going to get close to 30 goals. And Harry Kane's not going to be happy about Son winning the Golden Boot last year, best believe. So I expect Harry Kane to have an exceptional season, especially the World Cup on the horizon. Who do I think will be Player of the Year? I think Mo Salah is going to win it yet again. I think it's going to be his 3rd Player of the Season title, or maybe 4th. It's getting close to Thierry Henry numbers, you know. Mo Salah, fair play to him. And Team of the Season predictions, I think Alisson will get in there as goalkeeper. Trent Alexander-Arnold will be the right back. Van Dijk and Robertson will also be in the defense. I think probably Ruben Diaz will be in the centre-back pairing with Van Dijk. I think Rodri and, here's my hot take, Bissouma. Rodri and Bissouma to be in the centre of the park in the Team of the Season. I think Bissouma is an exceptional signing for Tottenham, it hurts me to say. And then we've got Salah. And a bit of a wild pick here. I think Saka could end up in the Team of the Season if all goes well for him this season. And I'm also predicting Harry Kane and Erling Haaland to be in the Team of the Season. Erling Haaland is going to eat in the Premier League, best believe. I don't care what people watched in the Community Shield over the weekend. He is going to score a ton of goals. So that's it for the Premier League predictions in general. But really, really excited for the Premier League to start and all the other leagues. You know, I mean, there's nothing like Premier League football. So, you know, very, very glad it's back and we are ready to go. So moving on to who to look out for and what games they're playing over the coming week in the Premier League and all the other leagues in Europe, or the top leagues in Europe, shall we say. Start with the Premier League as usual. Big season ahead for Leicester City, Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi. Wilfred Ndidi is finally back fit again, which is a huge boost for Leicester. I'm a bit worried about Leicester because they're the only team in the Premier League who are yet to strengthen their team. They have not made a single signing all summer, and we know that Chelsea are in for Fofana, Newcastle have made a bid for Maddison, and we may still see Arsenal make a bid for Tielemans. So I'm a bit worried that they may get depleted, and I want to see Ndidi make that big move. And let's see if Kelechi Iheanacho can replicate the form he showed in the 2021 season, hopefully. They start their season this weekend on Sunday at home to Brentford. Of course, Frank Onyeka plays for Brentford, so that'll be an interesting game to watch. Oh, speaking of Frank Onyeka and Brentford, let's see if he can force his way back in the starting lineup. He struggled to start games, especially towards the back end of last season. But I'm hoping that, you know, fresh slate, we know what his potential could be. And hopefully we'll see Frank Onyeka start games for Brentford, starting with the game against Leicester on Sunday. Alex Iwobi's Everton start their season with the big game. They played Chelsea at home at Goodison Park in the 5:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. I'm hoping he could be a starter over the season. I don't want to see Dwight McNeil starting over Alex Iwobi, I'm sorry. We know he ended the season quite strongly last season. He played well for the Super Eagles in our AFCON qualifiers and friendly games. So hopefully we can see Alex Iwobi kick on and finally fulfill his potential, especially because he's at that crucial age where he should really be performing at the peak of his powers. So watch out for Alex Iwobi this season, and we'll be sure to give you updates on how he's performing. Joe Aribo is going to make his Premier League debut on Saturday in the 3 p.m. kickoff away at Tottenham. I think that's going to be a very tough game for them. But honestly, I have super big expectations for Joe Aribo. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know I'm a big fan of Joe Aribo. And I'm just excited to see how he performs in the Premier League. So watch this space and hopefully he will, you know, conquer. Finally, Taiwo Awoniyi and Nottingham Forest. They're finally back in the Premier League for the first time since 1999. You know, they're probably going to be a lot of neutrals' favourites. Everyone likes Nottingham Forest. They've won 2 Champions Leagues. You know, they kind of a bit of a hipster choice. Everybody likes Nottingham Forest, and we hope that they stay in the league. So if Taiwo Awoniyi, being a record goal scorer, signing, could perform at the peak of his powers for Nottingham Forest, we might just have another folk hero in the Premier League on our hands, in the same way Obafemi Martins performed for Newcastle in his first 2 seasons. So watch out for Taiwo Awoniyi. He'll be making his debut, ironically, against Newcastle away at St. James's Park on Saturday in one of the 3 p.m. kick-offs. So those are our Nigerian players at the moment playing in the Prem. Maybe we may see Dennis sign for one of these teams, but I'll keep you updated. In terms of other Premier League fixtures to be aware about, Crystal Palace and Arsenal kick off the Premier League season on Friday, 8 p.m. kickoff. I don't want to predict the game, but I'm just hoping Arsenal don't get flogged 3-0 like we did against Palace in April. And hopefully this time we could, deliver on how well we're playing in the preseason. There's no excuses about COVID or injuries. Just perform and deliver. So we'll see how that game goes. And then on Saturday in the early kickoff, Liverpool go away to Fulham. I expect Liverpool to thrash the hell out of Fulham. Tosin Adarabioyo should play for Fulham. So we'll see how that game goes. But, I don't know what he's doing. He's 25 years old and he's yet to commit to the Super Eagles. So, obviously, we only talk about Super Eagles players and Nigerian players for now. So, if he ever makes the commitment, we will talk about Adarabioyo. But for now, he needs to hold that L from Mo Salah that's coming. Bournemouth also play Aston Villa at a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Bournemouth being the hosts. Leeds United also play Wolves in a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. And then on Sunday, apart from the games we've spoken about, we will see Manchester United play Brighton at Old Trafford in the 2 p.m. kickoff game. And then West Ham will host Manchester City in the 4:30 p.m. kickoff to round off the first week of Premier League fixtures. So that's it for the Premier League. Boy, am I excited. Honestly, there's nothing like football, guys. I'm sure you're excited. You're just as excited as I am, but honestly, I'm buzzing. That's just the best way to explain it. I thought I'd touch quickly on the Championship, considering the Super Eagles contingent players playing in there. At Watford, we've got Emmanuel Dennis, Troost Ekong, Samuel Kalu, Maduka Okoye, and Tom Dele Bashiru still on the books of Watford. Emmanuel Dennis started yesterday on Monday in a 1-0 win for Watford against Sheffield United at home, which was their season opener. He's the only Nigerian player to make any appearance of note for Watford. Troost Ekong was a new substitute on the bench. And more concerning, Maduka Okoye was warming up for Watford, but was not even in the matchday squad. Which means, in the eyes of Rob Edwards, who's the Watford manager, he's not even good enough to be named on the bench. So watch this space. I thought that was really, really interesting. Samuel Kalu was also not named in the squad. So watch out for that one. I did see Watford put out a tweet saying that for the month of August, because of rules in the Championship, which means that they can't name more than 11 non-English players in the matchday squad, we're going to see some interesting lineups throughout the month of August where they still sell players and buy players. So safe to say we'll judge them properly by the time September comes. But next up for them, they play Semi Ajayi's West Bromwich Albion on Monday away. Speaking of Semi Ajayi, he did start for West Brom in their last game to start the season over the weekend, which was a 1-1 draw away against Middlesbrough, one of the favourites to get promoted as well. He did start the game, which was good to see. But you know me, I'm not a big fan of our players playing in the second division in England. The more we could have in the Premier League, the merrier, for sure. But let's see how he performs against Watford in the game at home on Monday. And Super Eagles left back Jamilu Collins made his debut for Cardiff City in the Championship. He started the game on Saturday as they beat recently relegated Norwich 1-0. I thought he was fairly decent, to be fair. But you know my stance on left back. Zaidou Sanusi playing in the Champions League, winning titles for Porto versus Jamilu Collins. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to say who should be starting for the Super Eagles. But we wish Jamilu Collins all the best. Next up for him, he plays Reading away on Saturday in one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Serie A doesn't start this weekend, so if you're a Serie A fan, you still got to be a bit patient before those games come. The same thing applies to La Liga. La Liga doesn't start this weekend, so we'll be bringing you the previews of the games in La Liga and the Segunda next week. Moving on to the Bundesliga, Kevin Akpoguma's Hoffenheim start their season in the league this weekend against Borussia Mönchengladbach away. And we really want to see Kevin Akpoguma start games this season. He lost his place towards halfway through the season last year for Hoffenheim. And I really think he should be starting for the Super Eagles alongside Calvin Bassey. That should be the centre-back pairing. But it's hard to argue when he was an unused sub over the weekend in the German Cup first round, which Hoffenheim beat SV Rodenghausen 2-0. So hopefully we can see Akpoguma force his way back into the starting lineup. It's not a good sign if you're being benched by Ozan Kabak. We all know about Ozan Kabak, who played for Liverpool and Norwich and wasn't particularly great in the Premier League. So watch this space regarding Kevin Akpoguma. Obviously, I spoke about Cyriel Dessers and Hertha Berlin. So let's see how he performs in the league this season. He'll be making his Bundesliga debut away on Saturday at a 2:30 p.m. kickoff away to Union Berlin, who are obviously Tyrone Winnie's former team. Over the weekend, he made his competitive debut in a 4-4 draw for Hertha Berlin in the first round of the German Cup. They unfortunately lost 6-5 on penalties against second division side, which is not great. But Cyriel Dessers did score his penalties, so I guess if we're looking for positives, that would be one. In Ligue 1, we saw Moses Simon's Nantes play in the Trophée des Champions, which basically is the league champions in France versus the people who win the French Cup. So basically the French Community Shield. Nantes played this against PSG over the weekend. They got absolutely battered 4-0 by PSG. Neymar scored a brace. Messi scored a great goal. Sergio Ramos scored a back heel. I mean, PSG were just running riot. So we're not going to judge Nantes on how they play against PSG. But their season probably gets started on Sunday away to Angers. So let's see how Moses Simon performs and if he can kick on from the pretty good season he had last season. And then speaking of Terry Murphy and Innocent Bonke Lorient, they've got a really, really big season ahead. They start their season away against Rennes on Sunday. We know Terry Murphy scored 14 goals in the 2021 season. Last year, he had a bit of a dip. In fact, a massive dip. He only scored 8 league goals. So this season, we're hoping we can see Terry Murphy finally kick on. And maybe after 3 years at Lorient, if he could deliver, we will see him make a move to one of the better leagues or a bigger team next summer. Innocent Bonke, another good prospect for the Super Eagles. I think he's one of our better central midfielders. He probably should be battling with Alassane Youssouf and Franco Yeka for a spot behind Wilfred and Ndidi. Especially because I think Aribo should be playing further up the pitch. So let's see how Innocent Bonke plays for Lorient. It's going to be his first full season for them, so we wish him all the best. Moving on to the non-top 5 leagues and starting with Zaidu Sanusi and Porto as usual. They were involved in the Portuguese Super Cup over the weekend. He started the game as usual. Lovely to see what Sanusi has done for his career at Porto. If you remember last season, he scored the winning goal, which clinched the title for Porto. So safe to say he's in a lot of people's good books at Porto right now. They beat Tondela 3-0 in the Super Cup. And they will be starting their season on Saturday at home against Maritimo. So we would expect Sanusi to start. Also in the Premier League, we're going to see Xavier Godwin make his Portuguese league debut, playing for Casapia. He is a winger. Last season, he was named in the Segunda team of the season. He scored 10 league goals to help Casapia to promotion. He's going to be starting his season away at Santa Clara. So let's see if he could take the opportunity to improve his reputation and play really well in the Portuguese First Division. Moving on to Dutch Eredivisie, speaking of Calvin Bassey, as I mentioned, he got sent off over the weekend in the Dutch Super Cup. He came on as a sub and managed to get 2 yellows. Although, as I said, one of them was due to VAR. But Ajax lost 5-2 to PSV Eindhoven. PSV Eindhoven scored some pretty good goals, to be fair, in that game. Ajax start their season on Saturday against Fortuna Sittard. I'm not sure if Bassey will be suspended because I don't know if the Super Cup suspensions carry into the league. But if Bassey plays, we'll be sure to let you know how he performed. A bit of unfortunate news to report in Austria. Samson Tijani playing for Salzburg, who are going to be playing in the Champions League and are the best team in Austria. He's out for a few months after sustaining a fracture to his fibula. I think this was season for him to kick on, so it's a bit of a shame to see him injured, but we wish him a quick and speedy recovery. Moving on to the Belgian League, Alassane Youssouf continues to start games for Royal Antwerp. He started in their second game of the season over the weekend as they beat Zulte Waregem 1-0. Next up for them, they've got Europa Conference League qualifiers on Thursday against Lillestrøm from Norway. and then they play Louvain at home on Sunday in the league. Moving on to Genk, Dessers on Onuachu. Cyriel Dessers scored a brace for Genk in a 3-1 win over Standard Liège over the weekend. They won the first game of the season after losing their first game, so they've got 3 points from 2 games right now. Onuachu is still out injured, so we'll watch this space and we'll let you know how he performs when he's back to full fitness. Genk play Eupen at home on Saturday, so let's see if Dessers plays in that game and could get back on the score sheet, although we know that he's a very, very prime candidate to move to one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. So we'll keep you guys updated throughout August. Anderlecht made a signing of a right wing back, as I mentioned, Ishak Abdul Razak. The right wing back started for Anderlecht in their game over the weekend, although he got sent off after 34 minutes in a 1-0 loss to Cercle Bruges. He moved from Norway over the summer, and it's good to see him starting games, which means he's likely to start for the rest of the season. The sad part is he's going to miss their next league game, which is on Sunday, at home to RFC Sarang. But we should see him make his European debut on Thursday in a Europa Conference League qualifier. So let's see how he gets on in that game on Thursday. And then another move to mention, Victor Boniface for Union Saint-Gilloise. As I mentioned, they'd won their first leg of their Champions League third round qualifier against Rangers 2-0 today. His signing got announced literally today. He's moved from the Norwegian league. He's a striker. I know he scored over the weekend for his Norwegian club. So let's see if he could carry on the form and be a great signing for Union Saint-Gilloise. And who knows, we might even see him in the Champions League. So let's see if he makes his debut on Saturday when Union Saint-Gilloise play Mechelen away. So watch this space. Moving on to the Czech Republic, Peter Lajenka and Yeraso were injured over the weekend. Although we have a Nigerian player who's called Moses Uso. He's a left winger, but he's comfortable playing across both flanks. He started the game over the weekend as Slavia Prague lost their opening game of the season 1-0 to Hradec Kralov. Next up for them, they've also got a Conference League qualifier on Thursday at home against Panathinaikos before they play against Zlin on Sunday. So let's see if any of the injured boys come back into contention, but we'll be looking out for Moses Uzo. In Denmark, we've seen Akinkunmi Amo and Paul Mukaro play for Copenhagen. They've lost 2 of their first 3 games of the season, which is a bit weird to see. And over the weekend, they lost 4-2 to a team called Viborg. We know Akinkunmi Amo is currently injured, but Paul Mukaro did come on as a sub in that game, although we won't see him start games as the season progresses. Next up for them, they play Brøndby at home on Sunday before they play a home Champions League qualifier against Trabzonspor next week, Tuesday. Speaking of Champions League qualifiers, Midtjylland, who are also a Danish team, have got a player called Rafael Onyedika. Very good midfielder. Should probably get a call up to the national team soon. And they've also got a Nigerian goalkeeper called Mark Ugbo, who is currently the second choice goalkeeper for Midtjylland. They both start. Onyedika started on Friday as they beat OB 5-1 in the league. However, unfortunately, earlier today they got battered by Benfica in the Champions League qualifier 4-1. Onyedika was injured for the game, which is unfortunate, and we saw Mark Ugbo on the bench as the substitute goalkeeper. So safe to say they'll be moving down to the Europa League. Next up for them, though, they play a team called Lyngby away on Friday at 7 p.m. before they have their second qualifier against Benfica. But when you've lost the first leg 4-1, it's pretty hard to see how you're going to come back from that. In Croatia, we've seen Cedezia Awaziem sign for Hajduk Split. As I mentioned, they're the second best team in Croatia. Not the best league, to be honest, and as I said, Awaziem should not be anywhere near the national team right now. He literally got his signing confirmed earlier this week. They're second in the league behind Dynamo Zagreb, and they will also be playing in the UEFA Conference League qualifiers on Thursday at home to Vitória SE from Portugal. So watch this space. In the Turkish league, which has seen a massive drop in its coefficient rankings, Bratislava Samo's Fenerbahce got dumped out of Champions League qualifying last week, Wednesday, after they lost 2-1 at home to Dynamo Kiev. Although Bratislava Samo did start at right back, which I thought was interesting. Next up for them, they play Europa League qualifying this Thursday. They play a team called Slovak. So let's see how well they get on in that one. And then they'll be playing a newly promoted team called Omraniye at home on Monday to kick off the league season. Ahmed Musa's Fatih Kamaragumruk start the season on Sunday against Alanyaspor, which is where Awaziem was on loan last season. So let's see how Musa gets on. And we'll also be monitoring to see when he announces his retirement from the national team. Hemi Ekuru just made the move to Adama Demirspor. He's also got a player called Akintola as a teammate at Adama Demirspor. That is where Mario Balotelli played his football last season. So let's see if Onyekuru could, at least shine or make sure he starts games. So they open their season against Giresunspor away on Sunday at 5 p.m. And then we also have Azubike Okechukwu playing for Istanbul Basaksehir. Central midfielder, had a lot of promise, played for the under-23 team, but his career stalled a little bit over the past few years. He's got a Conference League qualifier for Istanbul Basaksehir on Thursday away to a team called Blig, and then they start their league campaign on Monday at home to Kashimpasa. I mean, I didn't expect Nwakeme to leave Trabzonspor, especially after how well he played for them last season. He rejected a contract from Trabzonspor, so now he's a free agent. I heard he was in negotiations to sign for Hull City, which was a bit weird to hear, but that fell off. So we'll see where Anthony Nwakeme ends up this season. And then finally in Cyprus, their league does not start until next week, so we'll bring you that one as it comes. Still early days in the season, but star boy of the week has to be Cyriel Dessers. I mean, coming back to Genk and scoring a brace on your league debut or your league return, so to speak, is always a good sign. So shout out Cyriel Dessers, and long may he continue his good form. Ones to watch for the weekend: Alex Iwobi against Chelsea on Saturday in a 5:30 p.m. kickoff. Joe Aribo making his Premier League debut against Tottenham away at 3 p.m. That's going to be Forest. I hope Taiwo can hit the ground running straight away and score a lot of goals for Nottingham Forest. Chidera Ajike makes his Bundesliga debut on Sunday away to Union Berlin. Moses Simon will be in action against Angers away in Ligue 1, so let's see how he plays. And Cyriel Dessers will be in action against Eupen on Saturday, or let's see if he will be sold. And then Victor Boniface is in line to make his debut for Union Saint-Gilloise. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigerian they ever carry last.